Good afternoon, and welcome to the City Club of Cleveland. My name is Jan Roller, and I am president of the club. The City Club is very happy today to provide its podium to our speaker, Lieutenant Governor Lee Fisher. Lee, as you know, the City Club has a proud tradition for almost 100 years of hosting forums for speakers who have an important message to share and who contribute to the civic dialogue of our community. As Lieutenant Governor and a top office holder working on creating, keeping, and attracting jobs in Ohio, especially in these tough economic times, there's no question of your important work to us all. Also, word is that you're running for the United States Senate. And here at the City Club, we've heard from the two other major candidates, so we'd like to hear from you as to who would be best to fill the seat currently held by retiring Senator George Voinovich. Lee is thoroughly an Ohioan. He grew up in Greater Cleveland, attended Oberlin College and law school at Case Western Reserve. Before he was 30, he was elected to the General Assembly and spent 10 years in the state legislature, where he gained a reputation as a hard-working legislator and author of numerous bills which became law, including the Missing Children Law, the Hate Crime Law, the Crime Victims Assistance Law, the Hospice Licensure Law, the Child Safety Seat Law, and he led the legislative fight to secure critical funding for Ohio legal aid services. In 1990, Lee was elected Ohio's Attorney General. The Columbus Dispatch described him as an innovative crime fighter for his work, such as his development of the national award-winning Operation Crackdown program, which shut down hundreds of dangerous drug houses, and the first ever statewide law enforcement and crime victim conferences, which are now an annual tradition in Ohio's law enforcement community. Lee was out of public office from 1995 through 2006. During that time, he ran for governor in 1998 and lost in the closest gubernatorial race in 28 years. It was also during that period that he led the Center for Families and Children, one of the largest human service organizations in Ohio, and where he again had the opportunity to know and work on the problems of the neediest among us. Lee was asked by Governor Ted Strickland to be his running mate in 2006. With the election victory, he was also named director of the Ohio Department of Development, a post he held for the first 2 years of the administration. As lieutenant governor, he continues to focus on economic development, and he now has his eyes set on a new site, the U.S. Senate. There, he hopes to utilize for all Ohioans what he has learned from his long, active career in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Governor Lee Fisher.
It is great to be back at the City Club, the most important public forum, not just in Ohio, but I think in America. And it's great to be here today with my wife, Peggy Zone Fisher, who is the main reason all of you are here today. My sister, Suzanne Fisher, my friend Parker Smith, who's the president of the freshman class at Shaker High School, who's been with me for many years, campaigning with me. Also, I want to recognize somebody who is a national legend and a national treasure in our midst, and that's Reverend Dr. Otis Moss. And a special thank you to the friends here today who surprised me from the Center for Families and Children, where I had the honor for 7 years to lead a wonderful organization that helped people who found themselves in a place in their life where they had no place to turn, whether it was forward or backwards or sideways. And because of the wonderful women and men at the Center for Families and Children, we gave them some hope and some dignity and some purpose. I'm here today as a candidate for the United States Senate because Washington is broken. And I'm here today because Wall Street has failed us. And I'm here today because the future of my children, your children, our grandchildren, literally hangs in the balance. It's not enough to complain. and say no from the sidelines. There is no shortage of that. What Ohioans deserve is common sense solutions to make our economy work for us again. I chose a life of public service, like my mother-in-law, Mary Zone, my father-in-law, Mike Zone, and my brother-in-law, Councilman Matt Zone. I didn't enter public service to score political points, and we shouldn't stand for that kind of petty partisanship today in Washington, D.C. While gridlock and partisanship paralyze and divide Congress, too many Ohio families are losing their jobs, they're losing their homes, and they're losing their health care. This campaign is about them. So today I want to talk about my ideas for putting Ohioans back to work and rebuilding our middle class, and talk about some ways to put aside those divisions and get results for the people of Ohio and our nation. As I have traveled this state and met with Ohioans, here is what I've seen. Washington's way of doing things hurts Ohio, it hurts Ohio's workers, and it hurts Ohio's families. Washington creates incentives for companies to send jobs from Ohio to China, not incentives to keep jobs in Cleveland and in Ohio. Washington gives banks billions in bailouts but shortchanges small business owners and entrepreneurs. And Washington busts budgets and borrows from abroad while families struggle to stay in their homes and put food on the table. Well, let me tell you, I have not spent my life in Washington, D.C., where too many insiders forget where they came from and who they work for. I've spent my life right here in Ohio. I'm running because I've seen this economic crisis through the eyes of people in Wilmington, Ohio, where DHL left 10,000 people out of work. People in Mansfield and Twinsburg and Moraine, where GM and Chrysler closed a plant and many felt that they had been evicted from the American dream. The unemployment rate today in Ohio is 10.9%. But trust me, when you lose your job, the unemployment rate for you is 100%. I know these stories. I have fought with these men and women, for these women and men, and I want to continue to fight for them. I want to take my experience here on the ground, saving manufacturing jobs, starting new businesses, creating the new clean energy jobs of the future, and take it to Washington to create jobs and to provide economic security for all of us. First, our most important priority is putting people back to work. Not next year, but next week. That's why I'm calling for a job creation tax credit that would provide up to twice the cost of the federal payroll tax for every new hire, offering thousands of dollars in tax relief to businesses that create jobs right here in the United States. The studies show that that will help us create up to 5 million new jobs over the next 2 years. It's why I also support exempting employers from paying the Social Security payroll tax this year on newly hired workers who have been unemployed for more than 60 days. And we must reform the way that stimulus dollars are being spent. We should reroute all the remaining stimulus funds, as much as several $100 billion, into infrastructure and home weatherization that will have an immediate impact on moving us to a clean energy economy and putting people back to work at the same time. Any stimulus money that won't create a job, save a job, or help someone find a job shouldn't be spent, period. But we still can't stop. We have to support small businesses and entrepreneurs who are the backbone of our economy. 98% of our employers in Ohio are small businesses.